Here we go. Okay, looks like we are almost there. There we go.
I'm going in on my computer. Let's see.
All right, let's see. Okay, I think that we are live now.
Perfect,
Hello.
perfect.
And you see it on your end as well? Perfect. Okay, hello everybody. Just getting it up so I can see the chat. Give everyone a second to join. I am so excited to talk about this with you today, by the way.
Me too. I feel like we were about to say the same thing. Go ahead.
We've been talking about it kind of on our own and like trying to save some of the stuff for this live. Is that what you're going to say too?
Exactly.
All right, let's see. And I'll go ahead and put your links in the chat. Eric, how is it going? Just finished pie. That sounds great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see.
I wish I had some pie.
I know, right? Let's see. And I'm live on my main channel, right? On yours, it shows my sleep music one. Just wanted to
I'm inside of the
oh, cool.
on your channel as well, so I can see the chat.
Okay, cool. I was showing my sleep music channel, so I was like, oh, that's not right. Okay, cool. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to switch this account really quick so I can post the links in here. Don't mind me. Okay. So we have Erin with us again from HIYERAlignment. I am so excited to have you back, Erin. Thank you for joining me today for our Monday live stream. Hello, everyone joining. James,
Hey,
what is up?
And no problem. You know, I love coming here to speak with you. You are always so insightful, and I feel like, of course, our vibe is very similar. So it's like someone who gets me and my weirdness.
I feel the same with you, especially our conversations. They're so like a lot of the stuff that we talk about one-on-one, we're like, oh, we just got to do a live on this. Oh, we just got to talk about this, because it's always just really interesting and profound, and I always love chatting with you. We just did a live stream on your channel not too long ago.
On dream work and self-care. So and it's still up on my Instagram profile, so if anyone wants to see that. But thank you for coming and talking about dream work in your personal practice and self-care activities. I think that's two things that I feel like people who gravitate towards your work and what you do understand, but I don't think we always put these two things together. And I just think that in my personal life, you know, I definitely use dream work in different activities like meditation or just even other things that are related to dream work. That are a part of my practice that I definitely use for self-care to help like nurture myself or to calm myself, to release energy or to figure out what's going on in my world, you know? So I think it's cool to talk about these two topics and put them together, especially if you're someone who likes dreaming.
Absolutely. And one thing that I've really learned from you and your work is meditation. You've opened my mind to meditation and what mindfulness really means. And he has a really amazing meditation series on his YouTube channel. I would definitely recommend checking out his YouTube channel. There are all the links that I just posted. If they're a mess right now, it's because the format of my screen is kind of off. So if that format is a little bit weird on your end for the chat, I apologize. We'll also post all the links in the description as well. I definitely recommend checking out his channel, his Instagram. He never runs out of great content. You are a machine when it comes to creating value in the online space. So
I try my best.
You're doing absolutely wonderful. So guys, we've been talking about this off the interwebs for a while. And I think this is a really important topic because there's such a stigma around kind of manifestation and what it means and what it is and what it's not. And, you know, this is something that I've really been able to kind of even just expand my knowledge with lately. I've been reading, you know, new books and exploring new ways to perceive my mind and reality. And I think a lot of lessons have been coming up as well that has gotten me to go even deeper in my practice. And so we really wanted to talk about our experiences with manifestation, what that even means to us, kind of how our journey started as far as getting into the world of consciousness and manifestation. I think we've both come such a long way, and our understanding, has changed so much. So I'm very excited to dive into that with you. And we do have some questions here, but if you guys have questions at any point, please feel free to leave them in the chat, and we will also answer your guys' questions as well. Greg, thank you so much for joining. It was a blueberry pie. Eric, I love blueberry. Blueberry is my ultimate favorite thing in the whole world. Jason, how is it going? So good to have you guys here. And then after our kind of chat, we're also going to be looking at Aaron's shop and see kind of the new products he has on there. You have a new update coming out next week.
On Saturday I am going to be having so I make crystal jewelry. Actually, this piece that I'm wearing, you all probably can't really see it that well. This is a piece that I made. It's an angel aura spirit quartz. So I will I'll show at the end. But yes, on my website on Saturday, I'm having a new crystal jewelry collection come out. It's going to feature Herkimer diamonds and Himalayan clear quartz, like nice, high quality clear quartz, and then some other items as well. So every 30 to 60 days, I try to make new things and just have, like, you know, a big upload. Hey, I recognize that.
I got this from his shop. His jewelry is such high quality. I love this. I always have it by my desk when I'm not wearing it because I just love the energy of it. It's so beautifully wrapped.
Like it. Yes, it's a black quartz. I remember that's a black quartz. And on the front, it's a gold sheen obsidian cabochon. So it has a little shimmer to it.
Oh, so beautiful. I'm definitely going to be coming back to I actually have a cart full ready, which I've told you. I'm so excited. He offers so many different products. I would definitely recommend checking out his Florida water as well. If you still
I'm glad you like it. Yeah, the Florida water is a very popular it's a very popular item. It's
I can see why. I love it so much. I'm trying to make the little bits I have last because it is so good. So before we jump in, I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Aaron because number one, I talk about him a lot. I refer you guys to his channel or his Instagram a lot, but I want to give him an opportunity to kind of talk about what he does in the online space and kind of who he is and just the work you do. So Aaron, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the online space. And
No problem. So my name is Aaron. I am a holistic and metaphysical life coach. I actually have 2 certifications. I have my first certification in instructional design. So this is basically how to teach adults information in a way that they're actually going to be able to absorb it. And then I also have a certification in professional life coaching. So what I do is I say I help you to get from point A to point B in your life, from where you are to where you want to be. Many of us don't know how to walk that path. Even when I help people individually or one-on-one, we don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we put together the plan. We put together the plan together. And what I really do that sets me apart from everyone else is I use a lot of metaphysical and holistic techniques. So I really talk about mindfulness meditation. I talk about dream work and lucid dreaming. I talk about EFT, the emotional freedom technique. I really love to use tools like solfeggio frequencies and subliminal affirmations, guided meditations, hypnosis, all of these types of tools to help us with our unconscious patterns, our thoughts and beliefs, and then patterns of behavior. So really that's how I kind of approach things: thoughts, beliefs, patterns of behavior. And I work also in the 7 areas of life. Those are kind of the frameworks, I guess, that I use. The 7 areas of life are health and fitness, relationships, career, finance, personal development, spirituality, and recreation. So if you've been to my workshops or my classes, you'll know that when I'm teaching a tool, I'll frame it in this way and I'll say, hey, these are the 7 areas of life. Pick which area most resonates with you right now, because a lot of folks are going through different things. All of us have different life experiences. We have different goals. We have different places where we currently are. But then I'll guide normally through self-exploration activities and teach tools, things like, once again, meditation or EFT, depending on whatever it is that we talk about. But that's a little bit about what I do.
He's the one all guy for everything you need. I'm telling you, like, he covers so many different topics on personal development and spirituality and tapping back into the self, and so much good content. I actually had my friend Leah reached out, and I
I remember Leah, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and she reached out. We were talking about you the other day, and she was just saying how much your content has helped her and how much value you put out on your platforms. And you're very consistent, and he's an over deliverer for sure as far as the value that you create. So thank you for that little breakdown, and just for the work that you do, because you have definitely helped me in so many different areas, especially with kind of business organization as well. We've talked about that as well. And so you're really good at creating structure, whether it's in your practices, your habits, like learning to kind of get closer to your goals in an efficient way that doesn't cause you to burn out. That's one thing that I've learned from you, because you and I feel like we've talked about this. We can tend to be workaholics sometimes when it's something that we care about, so it's nice to kind of learn a easier way to do things. And I think it kind of leads great into our topic, because I think a huge part of manifestation is learning another way to do things. We don't have to do things the way that we were taught and that we were programmed, and there's a new way to see reality, and there's a new way to kind of show up in what we're doing. And so I have some questions here, as we've kind of touched on first, and I would love to get your kind of perspective on this. So when you first discovered just like the concept of manifestation, or the law of attraction, whatever we want to call it, what did it mean to you, or what did you think that it was, or what it meant when you first discovered it?
When I first discovered this area, I was in a place in life where I was just looking for something new. Actually, it was me and my friend together. We said, you know what, we're going to just branch out and just, I guess you could call it an opening. Even people who are interested in dream work and lucid dreaming is something you kind of have to be very open to. You don't find very many closed minds here. And so I think we were naturally going through this process. I actually said that I wanted to pray more. And so I thought that the religion of Islam was very beautiful, how they prayed multiple times a day, and they have this really deep devotion and connection to their religion. And so I was like, I'm going to try that out. Not necessarily Islam, but just prayer, or just setting down this time to connect with the divine multiple times a day, and like actually doing it. Yeah. And that didn't actually end up working or happening. But I started to read books. I started to just explore. And someone also gave me this book, The Secret. My friend who I was living with gave me the book, The Secret. I had seen it on his bookshelf many, many times. I'm like, The Secret, The Secret, The Secret. And so he gave me the book, The Secret. He told me actually about the activity. Actually, it's crazy because on my YouTube channel, the video that came out today is the gratitude or the appreciation journaling exercise. I'm starting a series on different journaling exercises for people who like journaling. That activity that how-to video released today, but that is actually the topic. That is this practice. So my friend taught me this practice, and he gave me the book, The Secret, to read the book. And so every day I would do this practice. And this was the only law of attraction technique that I knew, and I didn't know that much about it, and it was just very interesting to me. And it was very simple. It was easy. I enjoyed doing it. And that one activity alone changed my life. I think that one activity of just showing appreciation and showing gratitude and learning how to really express that really did bring about a lot of favorable circumstances and situations in my life, that I think that's what people mean when they mean manifestation, when they refer to manifestation.
I love that so much. And mine was the same way. I got introduced to it through The Secret, but it was actually the documentary that I came across, or something on it. I know it was the first person that I saw talking about it was Bob Proctor, and I know that he had a place in that documentary, but it was only like a little snippet of it. And I can't remember how old I was. I feel like the first time I really heard about manifestation was from one of like my mom's like friends when I was like 12 or 13 or something, but it was a very like, oh, you just think about what you want. It was like a very simple, like, oh, you just think good things and think about what you want, and that creates your reality. And to me, there was a lot of gaps missing, so my brain didn't know how to make sense of it. So I was like, okay, wait, like I don't. And so I kind of forgot about it for a little bit, and then I remember that I came across The Secret later, and I think The Secret has a really beautiful way of creating some like inspiration and like energy, like, oh my gosh, the just the energy that like the book or the documentary holds is like very inspiring, like, oh my gosh, I can kind of take control of my reality. But I think it does have a lot of just a few gaps in it, as far as like cultivating the beliefs and becoming a new person that can kind of hold your reality. I didn't learn too much from, about that from The Secret, but it definitely got me into it. So I think it's a good documentary or book to kind of get people to start thinking in that way and kind of opening them up to the practice.
And I think that was I don't know per se, but just thinking about it now, I think that was the purpose of that book. And it was a really good purpose, because it really blew open the doors of your mind for a lot of people. Like, I didn't even know that was your first introduction into the law of attraction and manifestation. And I'm pretty sure the friend who gave it to me, it was his, and many people, I've given the book away. Maybe perhaps you have, I've given the book away plenty of times. And the sequels, I love the book, The Power. Love that book. I love The Magic. That was a great book as well. So I really binged like a lot of her content and a lot of her work afterwards. I eventually saw the documentary, but I actually didn't see the documentary until like years and years later.
And I just looked, and it made like $65.6 million in the box office, and that's huge for a spiritual film, like something like that. That's crazy. And it's kind of weird as far as my life, because like when I was really little, I was like having these random lucid dreams and out-of-body experiences. I got my first tarot deck when I was 9 years old, and I started giving tarot readings at this coffee shop with this like spiritual group that me and my mom met online or something. They would get together and discuss spiritual concepts, and we had like this it's like a kind of like a psychic circle is what they called it way back in the day. I don't really use the word psychic now.
Yeah, me neither, but I still, in a way, I identify with that. I still, definitely.
And that was kind of the term used back, back when I was younger, for just like metaphysical, kind of that world. And we would always meet at this coffee shop like every Friday or Saturday, and they asked me if I would want to give tarot readings. So we created this little fair for the day where I was giving like these tarot readings, and animal readings is one thing I started with when I was little. Like as soon as Facebook came out, I had a animal readings Facebook group when I was like 10 or 11, where I would give these. So it's like I was in that world in a way when I was little, but I didn't understand the concept of what it meant to be kind of a spiritual person or take control of your life. That was kind of something that I stepped into gradually later. But I'm lucky enough where I kind of grew up in a place where I did have a more open mind. I was I was raised in the LDS church until I was about like 11 or 12, and my questions were answered. And I love that all these practices, it's never wrong. Everyone has their own kind of path. Everyone has their own kind of reality that they get to explore with their beliefs and practices. So regardless if you're LDS, regardless if you don't have a religion, you're spiritual, whatever it is, all is welcome. But for me, I just had too many questions, and I felt like my path was meant to take me somewhere else. And so I feel like just having all these questions from a young age really opened my mind to think like there has to be more, you know, and I think that's why it was just so exciting to discover something like The Secret. And I remember when life used to get really, really difficult, or I used to get really stressed out when I was younger, I'd watch The Secret because it made me feel better, you know, about something I was going through and stepping out of fear. So my next question is, what do you believe are the biggest kind of misconceptions with manifesting or creating your reality? The
biggest misconception. And it's funny because these what some of the things that immediately come to my mind are things that I feel like we've talked about before, but it's before I say what they are, I also had the same conversation with another friend, and he completely blew my mind with his answer. So how to even approach it, I think from one of my perspectives I think that we have a way of wanting things to be very quick and fast, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people take the route of kind of, I call it the get rich quick schemes, you know, manifestation, like just do, like you just, you know, I'll just say for example purposes and for clarity and hopefully not to offend anyone, but we'll just say lighting their candle. You know, some people say, okay, you want love, light a candle. You want money, light a candle. You want a new career, light a candle. You know, whatever that is. It's like always this just very simple thing that you do. But I think outside of that, if you're not doing anything else, if you're not doing actually any work that's regarding your thoughts and your perceptions and your habits and your patterns of behavior, you're not going to be creating any change. You know, I think that the law of attraction, this is really like self-help and self-care in a very modern metaphysical way. You know, there's a lot of different ways to approach that. You go into Barnes and Nobles and you go to the self-care section and you'll find lots of different books that have nothing to do with this at all. But I think that when we fall into this, I'm going to do this practice, or I'm going to do this ritual, or I'm going to do this, and it's like a little 5-minute thing and I don't do anything else. And like, you know, I wished on my penny and flipped it into the well and, you know, walked away, you know, and we think that those types of things are going to work. From my personal belief, I don't think that is the proper solution. And hopefully that answer makes sense.
Totally. And Eric said, yes, the microwave mentality. I've never heard it called that, but that so makes sense.
The microwave mentality. I love it.
Yeah, because we live in a world where we can receive a lot of things pretty instantaneous, you know. We don't really have to wait for a lot of things, and a lot of things are convenient. And I think where we are, it's kind of being pushed even more into kind of a world of convenience. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions I think that I kind of learned with manifesting is it goes so beyond just like what you want and the thoughts that you're having. Like you could want something, but you could believe that you don't deserve it, you know, or you could not feel worthy of that. Or you could be emotionalizing with thoughts that completely counter the life that you want to have. Like all of this is really important to take into account, because what I feel like when we're creating our, you know, reality, I think we have to understand what that creation process really looks like, as far as what we can control within. It's not just about like I remember like you're probably like 5 years ago or 6, I saw this like manifesting technique because I was really getting into like manifest in 5 steps or like in 24 hours or less, like that
Yeah,
kind of,
exactly.
and it was like, okay, the 2-cup method, if you've heard of it, you have 1 cup, and this is your current reality, and you're going to write down the circumstance that you're currently experiencing now. You're going to pour water into that, and then you're going to have another cup where it's like your ideal reality, and you want to write exactly, what that looks like, and then pour the water from your current reality into this new reality. Feel it is done, and it is done. Now, there's a lot of questions that came up with this, and I think that's still also, it's causing us to kind of wait for things to happen, which is, I feel like, the exact opposite of what it means to kind of create reality. But it's also putting you in the logical mind of like, oh, this is the step-by-step process of how to get this one-time payment of $10,000 or something. I think manifestation is cultivating a lifestyle and a set of
it's
habits.
Definitely more lifestyle.
Exactly. Yeah. And a way of being in, in creating alignment with what you desire that way. It's not about figuring out how to get it to happen faster or how to kind of trick the universe. People think you can just kind of enter in like a code by writing a certain script or doing a certain technique. And I get it because I was there.
Me too.
And yeah, I think one of the biggest shifts that I learned was kind of Joe Dispenza's work. It like puts the responsibility back onto us. Like if you're not receiving what you desire, or maybe your circumstances aren't as favorable as you would like, what could be going on in your inner world that could be stopping that from happening? It kind of stops putting the blame out there of like, why isn't this working? Like, and like, what is within me that may be pushing this away or making it hard to actually match that on a deep level. So yeah, lifestyle.
I think that's a much better approach too. Was Joe Dispenza one of the first, I guess, like figures for you in this domain, I guess, of manifestation and law of attraction?
I think I only discovered Dispenza maybe like a year and a half ago. So like so it's his work was very, very recent. I'm trying to think. I started reading a lot of spiritual books before I started actually like obviously seeing stuff on YouTube and stuff, because I feel like this is still pretty new to have spirituality so available to us on YouTube. But I remember my mom kind of she started off into like witchcraft and paganism a little bit, and so she would, if she had a old tarot deck that she didn't really want anymore, she would give it to me. Her old crystals I would get. If she bought a book, she would kind of pass it on to me once she's kind of done with it. And so I started kind of being exposed to this stuff kind of at a younger age, but I think it was just like a collection of random books that I received that I didn't really know about. I'm trying to think of like one of the first kind of like spiritual teachers that I discovered, but I'm so all over the place with like what it is I'm learning, and like, so it's hard to think of the first person that was really opened me up to this kind of way of being. I think that Joe Dispenza, though, even just a year and a half ago or whatever, really allowed me to see like your personality creates your personal reality. That was one of the biggest things I've received, because it's like how we think, how we act, and how we feel is what is determining our kind of experience, and learning that our thoughts can create suffering, or they can help us reach freedom was really a huge shift for me as well, because I feel like we get stuck in our way of being and just thinking that's how we are, and we have to change out here to be able to make us feel okay, when it's like tearing down the foundations within and reconstructing it to match kind of the life you want. If that makes sense. I know that's a very long-winded answer, but I'll have to think on that and see if there was any specific author, anyone that was really like, oh my gosh, I kind of get, I kind of get it now. What was the biggest key for you as far as understanding how this can work in your daily life? So something that was, very applicable that you could do every day. What was the biggest?
Actually, if you're looking for like a specific technique, I'm not sure, or if you mean like a lesson.
Anything that you started to kind of have a daily commitment to that really helped you start to
Honestly, I
control?
think the appreciation exercise and the gratitude exercise, the same the one that we talked about, that was my first law of attraction exercise. And it was the only one that I knew. So there were no other options of anything else to do. That was it. And that was my practice for a very long time. And I love journaling. I love writing. So, it was right up my alley, something I could do in the morning to get focused for the day, something that I could do at the end of the day to kind of like regroup. And once again, I learned about it from the book, The Secret. I went back through The Secret, I think a while ago. I don't have the book now. I gave my copy away. But I went back through the book when I did have it, looking for the specific instructions for that exercise. And I don't think that they were actually ever spelled out. I think it was over in like a little notes section or, a little blurb side bubble area. But that exercise I did learn from the book, The Secret, from about the law of attraction. And I started to do that. And that's what I do recommend that people do. If you don't do anything else, I heard that if you don't say any other prayer in your life, saying thank you is enough. And I think that is so important to be appreciative for the things that are going well in your life, especially when you want things to get better. A lot of times we fall into this habit of complaining, but really, when we're complaining, we're focusing on the negative things. And then the more we focus on that, the more we complain about it. And the more we complain about it, the more we have to see to complain about it. And that is the law of attraction. So it's like, we're getting this started right here. So I think giving yourself the gift of appreciation and gratitude is going to change your current life very, very quickly. And it is going to also help you bring in the newness and the changes that you want into life as well.
I definitely agree. Gratitude has changed everything because we can be happy and joyful now. That's another thing, is like, I used to think that I had to wait for circumstances to kind of change outside of me for me to feel okay. And I'll admit, I definitely still went through those lessons this year, for sure. This year, last year was also huge on lessons. And I've been shown, fear and limiting beliefs that are still there. And I think that's part of the spiritual practice, is like not having judgment for what comes up, because if it comes up, we now have awareness around it, and it's showing you're always being guided to your blocks so you can move through them. And so I think that knowing that you have permission to be happy and joyful now, just because you're alive right now on a planet in space where you have like so many different humans with you, just like walking each other home, going through the process of the human experience. And I think once you really step back and look at what's actually happening, it's so beautiful to be where we are. And it's such a blessing to even just be alive right now. And once you start to tap into the deeper states of gratitude, and even just starting for, creating gratitude with what's in your immediate surroundings, I think that opens your mind to think bigger. And then you start really becoming grateful for everything in your experience. And by the way, I remember the author that kind of got me into everything, and it's 𝘽𝙀𝘽𝙀. Have you heard of her before?
I don't know. Does she write books? Do I have a book?
I think my first book from her that I got was when I was like 11 or 12. And she has books on like trusting your intuition and building your psychic abilities. And I think that's one of the main things that I got into when I was younger, is like the concept of intuition and psychic abilities and all of this stuff, and telepathy. Like I used to play
her name sounds so familiar, and I think I have one book. I can see it in my mind. It's like pink or
yes, it's like I think, and they're smaller. They're like kind of smaller, thinner books.
It sounds very familiar, but yes. So one of my favorites, I got deeper into it through Abraham Hicks. I'm not sure if you heard of Abraham.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah, I used to binge watch Abraham all day, every day. And it's actually something that I told myself. I said, you know what? Every day I'm going to start the day with a motivational something, and it's going to be from Abraham Hicks. over the next 1 or 2 months. I told myself that a while ago, maybe a week or two ago, and I've kind of stuck to it, kind of not, but I love Abraham Hicks. And even the name Higher Alignment was kind of inspired by this theory of alignment that I learned from Abraham. So I really, really appreciate their work, and that changed my life.
Yes. What I love about Abraham is just how simple the process really is that we complicate in our mind. Like, I love the messages that come through, because it's like, you just need to let go, or you just need to do that. It's really that simple. It's just our thinking mind that gets in the way and makes things complicated. And that's one reason why I love Abraham, is because it's just like, it just seems like something that it's simple, but not easy. It's a simple process. But
simple doesn't always mean easy. I think that meditation is very simple. There's only a few rules. There's only a few things that we're doing, but that does not make it easy.
Oh yeah, and I love meditation because it really allows us to observe the mind from a different perspective. And if any of you, I was just talking to Erin about this earlier, if any of you haven't read The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, I need you to run and get that book, or just go on YouTube and listen to the audiobook. Even the first 5 minutes, I promise, it will blow your mind. I've been listening to it constantly until I can get the physical book, and the way he explains the mind and the role of the mind and letting go. He has another book called The Surrender Experiment. It's just like, wow, it really allows us to get out of our head and into our heart. And I think that's extremely important when we are kind of discussing these things or doing that, doing this work. But definitely recommend that book. I cannot recommend it enough. But I think that's another thing, is just, taking time to meditate, even if it's just a small commitment to either be present or explore your mind from a different perspective. If you have a lot of anxiety or you have a lot of thoughts and you think it's hard to meditate, I think that's more of a reason to meditate, just so you can observe your thoughts in your mind when you're not actively using it, and just build awareness around that. And it will really spark some curiosity what you find. The mind is very interesting, and so much happens without. Especially when we're not conscious of it, and that's really what controls our experience here. Our thoughts really do generate from the beliefs that we have, and the thoughts that we have, they can influence how we feel, and how we feel kind of determines how we show up and how we behave in the world. And that obviously affects our results. So very, very, very important. Let's see. I don't think I've asked you this yet. How has the idea of consciously creating your reality changed since you first discovered this topic? How has that kind of understanding evolved? What's the biggest change from where you are now to where maybe you were when you first discovered this?
This might be a deep question. This might be the one that takes us off the deep end. But my view of, when I hear your question, my view, what has changed about consciously creating reality? I think my view of consciousness itself has changed since I began doing what I do. And so when I think about, what does this mean, consciously creating reality? I think that your view of consciousness very much affects what even that means to you. And now there's so much, like, I just don't even know where to begin.
They are a little bit deep questions.
I think that I'm trying to make it tangible. So I guess it underscores things that nothing has negated. It's not like the advancement, I feel like, in my knowledge has negated any of my previous experiences. Even things like getting clear. I do think that it is important for one to be clear on what they want in life in order to manifest it, no matter what that is.
That's first step, clarity.
But also holding on to it very, very tightly is not going to help. And
Yes,
Whether
that's
you're
huge.
learning this on a beginner's level or even a more advanced level, on a more advanced level, we're really even getting rid of the craving. So at a certain point, there is no personal development, or there is no manifestation, because you don't have you don't have a desire driving your behavior. I think that's one of the things about the human experience. I really study a lot from Tibetan Buddhism, and they have 6 different realms of existence. The human realm, this is the realm of craving and desire. And we even hear about this in a lot of like spiritual teachings, like this is a place of craving and desire. And we always have that, even if it's for something good or if it's for something bad, we always want something. Like if you think about from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, how many times you're like, oh, I want to do this, or I want to do that, or even our have tos, I have to do this, or I have to do that. Even honestly down to the things that keep us alive on a biological level, that is a very, very deeply ingrained desire, characteristic of the desire realm. And like I said, I feel like I'm just rambling, but
No, that really puts things into perspective. I really,
yeah. I think that has changed for me, my view of what consciousness is, and it would be hard for me to even go into that, but just through the practices of meditation and self-exploration and inquiry, if someone is listening to this and they want to know more about that, I would look up shamatha. Shamatha is the type of meditation that I teach here on YouTube and on Instagram. There's also another type of meditation called Vipassana meditation. This is more of insight meditation. So shamatha meditation is helping you to develop this focus, this laser focus. You've heard me talk about it before, this characteristic of the mind becomes undistractable. You cannot distract the mind. So once you have achieved shamatha, and shamatha, is a whole beast on its own, but it's honestly a very necessary tool for a lot of the manifestation, metaphysical type work. I mean, I feel like it's a necessary tool, because once you learn to enter this meditative state, there's so many doors that, to me, it's kind of like the liminal state, like it's entering, it's learning how to walk into this hallway, but you have to be able to see the hallway, and you have to learn how to access that hallway. And even that is a lot, that is a lot. But once you learn how to do that, you can astral project from here, you can lucid dream from here, you can do this from here, you can do that from there. So it's the same thing with meditation. When we even think about people who are learning to meditate, and they're like, oh, I can't stop my thoughts. Meditation isn't necessarily about stopping your thoughts on a beginner's level. Yeah, you're training the mind to be focused. And when you have a thought, yes, you notice the thought is there. The attention has shifted. You pull the attention back and rest it back on that object, whatever you're using for your meditation. But on a more advanced level, the thoughts arise and you don't do anything but observe them, and you're letting them naturally dissipate. You're not pulling the attention away. So it's like the idea of what exactly is consciousness. And once you learn whatever that means for you, your perspective on action, when to take action, when to pause, when to reflect, when to release and to let go, all of these different parts of manifestation, they shift in accordance with your beliefs and your personal experiences.
Yes, and I love how you talk about meditation, because it's also just, it's not trying to stop the thoughts or change the thoughts. It's really just about observing kind of what's going on without you interacting with it in a lot of ways. And I think that awareness allows us to actually commit to making change with our thoughts. Once we know that we're not the ones that are running them, we have thoughts. But once we really tap into what it's like to just observe thoughts, we can start to observe other things in our reality without getting emotionally attached to them. And I think that's a huge part of meditation, and just this practice in general, is a surrender a level of deep surrender and knowing and just being. I think we're so used to doing or thinking or trying to figure things out. We're not used to just sitting, being present. And I think that's something that really meditation has taught me as well. How many of you have sat there meditating and all of a sudden you're thinking about what you want to eat for dinner and you're thinking about how you're going to cook it and maybe the new spices that you're going to try, for dinner, or maybe you really feel tempted to pick up your phone and just check one more thing or just check the time. I know that that has definitely happened especially when I first started meditating. It was so uncomfortable for my mind just to sit there. It was so uncomfortable to sit there without any distractions. And so once you really allow yourself to sink into that space, you start to carry that presence into other things that you do. And maybe, also into your relationships. You start to also not take things as personally because you've tapped into what it's like to be the observer instead of things happening to you, things being said to you. They're just things that are happening. And I think that meditation also kind of dissolves, it's like we categorize things as good and bad and right and wrong, what we want and what we don't want. And I think meditation allows us to be neutral and not put these assumptions onto things, or it allows us to let go of control a little bit more. So I love that. And thank you for also posting that as well. I think
I was trying to quickly type and answer. Good. I'm not sure whose question that was. Eric said, is shamatha kind of like mushin? I don't know mushin. I don't know this, but shamatha, the word is a Sanskrit word, shama, meaning calm, and ta, meaning abiding. But this is not the only name for this practice. There's also Zhine practice, Zhine, and it means the exact same thing, calm, abiding. And it is as a skill of attentional development. So if we think about someone on the opposite end of the spectrum who perhaps has like ADHD or ADD, like attention deficit, this person the mind is not able to stay settled on one object or one task without becoming distracted by another task or object. Then on the other end, if you could say, that is a 1, then on the level 10 could be like this perfect shamatha practice. And in here, the mind is so settled, is so focused, it is undistractable. In fact, no other appearances appear to the mind outside of whatever it is focused on. So if we're using mindfulness of breathing, which actually technically would not be a good choice because we couldn't get to level 10 shamatha with this technique of mindfulness of breathing. But just for examples purposes, say you use mindfulness of breathing and your object of meditation is the sensation of the breath at the nostrils. This is what a lot of people know this technique as. This is actually the Theravada technique, the sensations of the breath at the nostrils. But there are other mindfulness of breathing techniques, and there are other techniques for mindfulness meditation or shamatha, jhine, calm abiding, whatever you want to call it, outside of using the breath. But say you were doing this practice and you were very, very proficient. The mind has become focused on the sensations of the breath at the nostrils so much that if a speeding train came hurling past you, you would never know, because the sounds don't appear within the space of this mind anymore. They don't appear within the space of this awareness because this mind is only focused on the sensations of the breath. It has become undistractable. It cannot be distracted. No other appearances, even nothing that you could see, hear, taste, touch, smell, your vision field, the field of vision is no longer there. The hearing is no longer there. The mind has completely settled. Technically, what would have happened is the sensations of the breath would have been gone by that time, so that would have been neither here nor there. And but the mind would have become so settled in on itself that no other appearances outside of itself would appear. And by nature, mind is what they call clear and luminous. It's empty. If you follow Tibetan Buddhism and things like that, we hear about illusory form and emptiness. There's actually nothing there. And you learn that through meditation as well, like the Vipassana meditation. There are different meditations where you enter into this through shamatha. And so say you have a good grasp on that, and now you no longer have to be focused on the sensations of the breath, Now you can turn this single pointed focus, this sharp laser, this sharp edge, this sharp sword of attention that you've now trained in. Now you can turn it and you can use it on different objects. So one of the first things that you look at is a thought. Instead of pulling the mind away from that thought, now you're using the focus that you have developed through shamatha to look at the thought. So a thought comes up and you just observe it, and you're investigating, like, what is that? What is that thought? And you're not conceptualizing, so it's hard to explain it, but you're just observing. Like you said, you're just observing. This is what they call noting nakedly. Naked means without a concept, without conceptualization. So there's no chit chat going on in your mind, but you're observing that thought, and you see the thought comes and it goes away. And another thought comes and it goes away. Another thought comes and it goes away. So when you're observing, you say, okay, well, what is that? It's nothing. There's nothing there. It appears there's something like a mirage, or like they say, like the image of the moon in water. You're looking at the water and you see the image of the moon. So yes, there is an appearance there, but if you go to touch it, what's there? There's nothing there. So then you can turn that on even to the self. First you're looking at the thoughts, then you can turn it on the thinker of the thoughts. Who's thinking those thoughts? What is that? So you turn that sword on the self and you're looking at it, and you'll easily find there's nothing there. It's easier to talk about it rather than to experience or do it. But for those who are interested, the practice is shamatha and vipassana.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend that practice. I'm still new to it, but I totally understand the concept and the practice behind it. And it's so powerful to be able to get curious and observe our thoughts without thinking they are us. I think that's kind of where a lot of people get tripped up with it, is because if we have a thought, we're used to thinking it's true, and that it is us, and it's how we truly think and believe. And think about how much stimulation our brains are taking in throughout the day, guys. Like, we think like 65 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we had the day before. And so your brain is as soon as you look at something, it doesn't matter what you're engaging with, a thought is created. If we think every single thought that we have, that we can consciously observe, is us, and it is a fact, then that's when we start to emotionalize with it. We start to suffer. We start to not be present. We start to be on autopilot. And so I think the first thing is really realizing that just because you have a thought doesn't mean that it's true. Our brain can only perceive what's right in front of us, right? And if we are so in our mind, we can only see issues and circumstances up close, like we're nose to nose with it. And if we step back into the heart and we observe the thoughts, we see that the thoughts that were being created aren't facts, number one. They aren't necessarily true, and they don't reflect who you are or what you actually believe. They're just thoughts because your brain's trying to make sense of the physical world around it. But if we step out of that mind, we can observe it from a different perspective and back up from our circumstances or our issues and be like, oh, we just walk around. I think that our brain likes to complicate things as well. And if we keep emotionalizing with that mind, seeing what thoughts we have as fact, then that can cause us to suffer and get out of presence. And one thing that Michael Singer talks about, which I love, is he talks about kind of like the metaphor of the sun being the soul, being Shakti, being that consciousness, that energy, and clouds being our mind. The sun, Shakti, consciousness, flow, it's always there, right? The sun is always outside. It never disappears. Even when it's night, it's still there. Even when the clouds form, it's still there. But depending on how many clouds are out, depending on how many clouds are layered, just like our thoughts, that can stop us from feeling the warmth of the sun. That can kind of cloud our connection to Shakti. It's directly connected to our thoughts. And all we need to do, there's not all of these steps to connect with this energy. It's just disconnecting or stepping back from your thoughts and really being in the energy of surrender. And that will immediately clear up the clouds, the overthinking mind, and allow us to feel that warmth, that connection to Shakti energy. And that was something that I think about all the time now. And it's allowed me to observe my thoughts and get curious when I have a thought. And instead of just forget about it, because a lot of our thoughts go unconscious, and that's actually what's running our life. Again, like 90% of our thoughts are the same thoughts we had the day before. And if we constantly live that way, we're going to have a very predictable life, just like Dispenza says. And I think as soon as you have a thought that you don't agree with, or that creates stress or whatever it is, just be like, oh, that was interesting. I wonder where that thought came from. Write it out, and then ask yourself, what else could be true? Play the devil's advocate with your thoughts. And you'll be able to see the complete opposite side of the coin. And that's one way that we can reprogram our brain to think differently. It also allows us to disconnect and step more into the observer role. Because I think a lot of our suffering comes from us believing our thoughts are true and believing that we are our thoughts.
Exactly. And that's what those practices show you, those things that you're so attached to, the thoughts and the beliefs. And, you learn once again through shamatha, first you learn how to use the mind. And then through vipassana, you actually use it. And then you turn it against itself.
Yes.
You turn it against itself and kind of, put it in this choke out, if you will, which is, in a way has caused life to become scary, because you see that things aren't the way that you thought they were, years and years ago. Things aren't and you'll continue to learn and continue to grow, and things will continue to shift and change.
But if we can be comfortable with being uncomfortable and see life as a mystery and get excited, anticipate what's coming, and actually live in that energy, we can totally change that fear that we have of not being able to predict the next moment to something that's exciting and magical, and just anticipating how magic is going to unfold for you. I think that that's also something that's really helped me, is to figure out how to transmute that fear into something that actually makes me excited, because I can't predict it. The thing that's stemming from that fear, using that as fuel. So what is one thing that manifesting to you is not?
One thing that manifesting to me is not. Manifesting is not. Wow, I'm not sure what is manifesting not.
I do have one. I think, because I haven't even thought of this question. I think for me, manifesting is not about like lighting incense and drinking tea and having all these like physical practices where you're like, oh, I'm a spiritual person, it's like having spiritual ego really comes out to play sometimes when we first get in these practices. And I think that when people think about manifesting, it's something that you can physically see, it's a structure. It's like, grab your crystals, do this exact technique. And I think there's just too much like doing with manifesting. And I think that it's all about our internal world. And I think one thing I didn't expect with manifesting is, it's not just like thinking positive and like learning to see, the grass is greener over here, but it's also like, what are the wounds that are coming up from my inner child? What's coming up in my shadow? Or maybe it's not coming up, that it's unconsciously blocking me from stepping into this. Like, how can I move past fear? What are these limiting beliefs? I think there's so much shit that comes up when we actually are dedicated to changing our life that we don't think about when we first start manifesting. That it's a lot of belief work, shadow work, inner child work, learning to question what you believe to be true, really learning to step out of that comfort. I think for me, what manifesting is not is just the physical practices that you see on YouTube and stuff. I think it's definitely more of like an inner world. So that's the first thing that came to me when I thought of that question. But I understand it's kind of a
I agree though. No, when you're talking about it, I'm like, okay, for me, manifestation is definitely not external.
Yeah.
It's not dependent on those external things. It definitely is an internal job, 100%.
Yeah, we need to think beyond our physical reality. So we don't want to try to fight our physical reality with physical reality, you know? So yeah, an energetic place first, for sure. So if there are 3 key like takeaways from someone just discovering this topic, if you could tell someone 3 things that is just learning that their thoughts actually create their reality and they can actually shape their life based off who they are, like what are the 3 simple like key things that you think you would tell them just to get them started on their journey?
The first one would definitely be to practice appreciation. Yes. You know, we talked about that.
Yes.
So there are many, many ways to do that. I would suggest the appreciation journaling activity. We kind of talked about that as well, being one of my first ones. It's very simple. You're going to write about things that you are appreciative for. You can use the template sentence, I am so happy and appreciative for, I'm so happy and appreciative that, and you can just write it out. I do have a YouTube video on that just came out today if you want to, because I'm trying to keep it brief. So if you want to, if that sounds interesting to you, then check that out. The second thing that I would say is definitely to learn meditation, 100%. And once again, meditation is a very general term. It's kind of like someone saying, I play sports. We don't really know exactly what that means if you say I play sports. So I would definitely suggest, once again, shamatha meditation. It has so many wonderful benefits. The main 3 aspects of shamatha meditation are relaxation, focus, relaxation, vividness, and clarity of focus. So it's helping you learn how to relax your body and your mind. So this is a great tool for stress relief. Even if you don't take it any further than that, you can leave it right there. It's a great tool for stress relief. I mean, amazing. But if you begin to practice more, it is going to help you develop patience. It is going to help you develop that ability to observe without participating that you were hinting at. It's going to help you develop the ability to dive deeper into other metaphysical tools like astral projection, like lucid dreaming, like dream work. And it's going to help you so much with your emotional development, your capacity to withstand pain, physical pain, mental pain. It's a great, great practice. I would definitely look into that. It's called shamatha or 𝘽𝙀𝙀. You'll probably just hear it referred to as mindfulness meditation. So once again, if that sounds interesting, I have a series on mindfulness meditation on my YouTube. The first video is like an intro to what is mindfulness meditation. How do you do it? Why do you do it? The next video is a guided practice. And then each collection of videos after that is structured the same way. The first video in the pair is an explanation video. And the second one is just the practice itself. So if you do end up liking that, you can go directly to the practice.
Perfect.
And then the third thing that I would say is to be open. Just to be open to learning more information, to experiencing more. Suspend your disbelief for a moment. Sometimes when we show up to things, we show up with our cup full. We show up as a full cup. So sometimes we show up like, I'll use myself as an example. I'll go to a class, say I go to a class and I show up as Aaron, who has his bachelor's degrees and who has his certifications and who has these titles and who's done this and who's done that. When we show up full, we in a way have expectations and we're already projecting. We are not able to just open ourselves up to the experience, versus when we come empty, we have the opportunity to allow the experience to pour into us, to learn, to grow, to actually have that experience and to be present. And then later on, you can apply your lens, your thinking, your analyzing back to it. Okay, what did I feel? How did I feel? What is this compared to the things that I've already done? But I think initially it's very good to be open to hearing things, open to learning things that you may feel uncomfortable with, things that you don't know about, things that you've never heard of. even, even in a relationship level, open to hearing what people are saying and what people are thinking without feeling like you need to do anything to change their mind or to give input. Sometimes it's just about being open. When we're open, we can receive whatever that next thing is for us.
Totally. I definitely agree with gratitude, meditation, learning to be, to just be present and kind of surrender to what's happening without trying to control it. And then being open, suspending our disbelief, because our beliefs are kind of what got us to where we are in the first place. It's kind of, it can be what prevents us from moving forward or learning more, being able to really integrate something really powerful. So I love that so much. Before we view your shop, it looks like we have a question from Thunder. Well, kind of just a statement. I think the problem with my journey is I have too many ideas. I overthink way too much. It's a gift. I'm a genius. What would you have to say to someone who can overthink when they're learning something new or just overthinking their situations in general? How would you?
This is where I would honestly suggest the practice of meditation, because when you're overthinking, and we kind of talked about this before, I feel like personally, and once again, I'm gonna have to dive deep and then bring us back to the shallow end. But the thinking mind is a part of what we call in the West the ego. Other cultures refer to this as the pain identity, the pain identity. And the pain identity has three portions: pain body, pain speech, and pain mind. That pain mind that's thinking with all of those thoughts and its analysis and its conceptualization and it's ruminating and it's contemplating, the mind can't outthink itself. You're never going to be able to think a thought that is going to be able to, I don't want to say never, because actually you could, but I guess and what we're talking about, you're not going to be able to come up with a thought that's going to kind of outthink the mind. It's like the pain identity, it's talking to itself. You can't outthink your mind. So when you learn to release altogether and you learn that you're not the mind, you're not even those thoughts, then it makes those things a lot more bearable, because you don't have this attachment onto it when you realize that those aspects, those phenomena, we could call them, things that appear within the space of the awareness, things that we're aware of, that we're aware of those things, but we are not those things. The true identity is not those things. So, but when you identify with that which you are not, you cause a very big problem. And then when the ideas become faster or become slower, or your ideas dry up, you need more ideas and now you don't have any more, or now you have too many and you need to get rid of them, or just anything. There's never going to be an ideal situation if you're doing that, because it's kind of like being delusional. You're not going to gain clarity by being delusional. You're not going to get that. So the ideas and the thoughts, they're wonderful tools, but you have to use the thoughts. You can't let the thoughts use you, and you can't outthink a thought with another thought. It's just like it's like a crazy person. We think of, I live in Atlanta and downtown, there are lots of people who are experiencing homelessness, and you see a lot of people who have delusions and things like that. Think about the thoughts that are running through their mind. Those are the exact same thoughts that are running through our mind. But you can see that these people are responding to their thoughts, and they're trying to outthink the thoughts. They're trying to outtalk the thoughts. And you see what it looks like for them. It's this exact same thing with us, except we're just not doing it in the street. You're doing it in your house when you're by yourself, So I would definitely suggest the practice of mindfulness meditation, because even if you're a beginner and you're not that advanced, you're going to find that the practice is going to give you a lot of relief if you surrender to it and allow it to nourish you. And once again, there's lots of different techniques. I'm specifically talking about the one, mindfulness of breathing via the Theravada method. It's a very gentle practice. It's a very kind practice, very nurturing practice, and it's very simple. But as we said, simple does not always mean easy, but it is a very simple practice. So it's something that anybody can do from any religion, any background. It is not about worshiping any deities or any prayer or anything like that. It is purely a mind technique and a tool to train your attention. So that's what I would say to that.
That is so important, especially with knowing that we can't outthink a thought. And that's still the same exact mind trying to rationalize with itself and communicate with itself. And so once we realize that, it's just more noise that's going on, that's not going to create any more silence. It's just going to add to it. And I used to do the same thing. When we get a thought that feels scary or uncomfortable, we try to rationalize with it. Well, that's not going to happen because this, or if this happens, we have a plan. Oh, it's okay. You just try to think enough good thoughts to make you feel better, but then you're just fighting with both sides of your mind. And then it causes you to lose even more control. So I think for sure it is all about trying to create more presence as much as you can, and not trying to just think better thoughts, but going for silence, allowing yourself to really,
silence.
We don't need to cover it. It's same with like the ego. And Michael Singer talks a lot about the spiritual ego. It's like we beat ourselves up for, oh, we could have worked out, or, oh, we could have done more here and there. But we think it's a good thing when we have that voice. Oh, you didn't meditate today. Oh, you didn't do yoga. You didn't commit to this. It's the same mind. It's one's not better than the other. It's the same mind bullying you around, but with spiritual stuff,
Exactly.
So neither one is really helpful.
It's speaking your love language and tormenting you that way.
Exactly. Yeah. It has a different mask. So it appears to be, something that's benefiting you. And really it's the same voice that's stopping you from really getting present in the first place, and accepting wherever you're at, learning to not judge ourselves and to be more gentle with ourselves really is key. And also one thing that helped me really quick before we jump into your shop is neutralizing thoughts. Like when we have a brain that creates fearful thoughts, maybe we're in a scary situation, our body also reacts too, and we feel fear. So there's something going on that's stressing the brain and the body out. And I think we try to ignore it and cover it up. And I think number one, it's neutralizing how you feel and acknowledging how you feel instead of trying to cover it up. Of course I feel nervous, or of course you feel anxious. Anybody would in this situation. Like coming back down to earth and realizing that you're a human and you're not the only one in the world feeling these emotions, and that it's normal to feel that way, I think can take a lot of the power out of these thoughts and help us kind of calm the body down. And to go with a meditation chat you're talking about, also doing a body scan and learning what different feelings feel like in the body. So when you're feeling anxious, do a body scan, get really present, and even write down the sensations that you feel when you're anxious. That way, as soon as your body communicates with you, you're like, oh, there's anxiety going on right now. Let me dive in and see what's going on. Or, oh, it's nervousness, or it's anger. You start to really get so present with your emotions that you can start to pick up on the cues pretty early, and your body's just trying to communicate with you. So I think it is all about presence and listening and getting curious instead of taking everything so seriously as far as what goes on in our mind. So I love that. Love that. So are you ready to kind of walk us through a little bit of your shop and show us what's
I would love to.
Cool, guys. So we're going to go through some of Aaron's shop. I'm just going to pull it up on my end, and he's going to kind of guide us where to.
And I do have some things too that I have live as well.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm actually going to, before we even get started, I am going to be creating a code. I'm actually going to create it right now, and I'm going to drop it in the chat for everyone. So it's going to be LM20 for 20% off any physical product. Well, it's going to be on the entire order.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I did drop it before, but I didn't explain it yet. So thank you for doing that.
No problem. I'm actually typing it in now.
Sweet.
And let me go actually create it. And it's going to be valid now. So starting now through Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. And you're going to be able to get 20% off your entire order. So, I think that's a good deal.
Especially for your quality of products. Absolutely. Like, I'm telling you, everything that I've tried, guys, like the tea, the oil, his jewelry, like his sage bundle, like everything. It's so
Thank
nice.
you.
And
I'm so glad you like it.
yeah. And your site just looks so well put together and just so pretty.
Thank
so
you.
I'm
I
excited
am
to show it all.
yes.
Yes, Eric, you do get cheat codes.
So I just created that. So it is now valid. So anyone, if you're interested in crystal jewelry, and we're going to show some of the products, I think Haylee's going to pull them up on her end, and then I'll show you some things that I have, with me sitting in front of me as well. Also, any order over $50, you can buy now, pay later. So that means that your order will ship, but you can split it into 4 equal payments, interest-free, and the first payment is not even due until after you receive your order. So you'll get all of your products in your entire order, and then 2 weeks after you placed your order, that's when your actual first of the 4 payments are due. So, it gives you a good way. Plus with the 20% off, so use the 20% off code and then break your order down into 4 separate payments. You'll be able to get some, goodies for a good price.
It's a no-brainer for sure. And I mean, look at them. Look at that. This is so beautiful.
Yes.
So where do we go first? Do we go directly down? Do you want us to go to a specific
So
tab,
you can look, I guess I should have pulled it up on my screen. I would say the first thing that would probably be interesting, go ahead and go to the Angel Aura collection. That was the last collection of jewelry that I put out. So here, if you are interested in crystal jewelry, there's lots and lots of beautiful items. So you're going to see that there's some Aura spirit quartz. So those are spirit quartz from South Africa. The Angel Aura part of it means that it is heat bonded with titanium. All of mine were custom bonded. So there's different shades of spirit quartz. There's also fairy quartz, which is kind of like the baby version of spirit quartz.
I love this one.
Oh yes, that is a labradorite. I love labradorite. And those are Angel or labradorite, which I've never actually seen. So I want to have those because those are 2 of my favorite stones.
Oh, me too.
So you're seeing some pendants. There's also a set that comes with a necklace and a bracelet. There's some earrings. There are different bracelets. That last one is a black kyanite. So there are some things in there. There's also an entire another collection that just says crystal jewelry. So on Saturday, all of the items from the Angel Aura collection will switch over to there, and it'll be kind of in this general jewelry collection. This is what's left over. So I'm updating my website.
Oh my God.
So cool. There will be more items up there. But yes, there's also other items like you saw the floral wrap sage.
We need to show that.
Okay, you like the floral wrap sage?
Oh yeah, so
it should
beautiful.
Be under sage, yeah. Okay. So all of these, there's 2 different branches, I guess you could say. So some of them are just smudge bundles, so they're actually made with like lavender and rose and herbs. And then the other ones, the floral wrap sage, they're actually sage bundles or sage bundles coated in resin. Like you see, there's some that are in red, so that's the dragon's blood resin. And then there are flowers that are dehydrated using warm air or either silica gel. There's also some bundles that have Palo Santo and a selenite stick that come with them. So there's incense holders,
I
selenite
love
incense
that.
holders. Yes,
Yeah.
and the agate incense holders as well. So those are really good. And just regular sage. So if you're looking for like white sage or cedar and sage or dragon's blood sage, I have that for you there as well.
Your sage flower bundles are so beautiful. I wouldn't want to burn it. I would just want to like put them all over my house and hang them everywhere because they're so pretty. I'm like, I don't want to burn it.
Yes, and a lot of people say that, but I say burn it. I honestly, I think about things from, even as a business owner, I think about things from a price point too, because we're all looking, I love a good deal. And I'm like, if you're someone who likes sage bundles and things like that, and you actually like to use it to clear your energy and to cleanse your home and to cleanse yourself, even though the item is very beautiful, it's worth it. It's not so expensive that you could not buy another one. You could easily buy another one. They're
Totally.
herbs and they're plants, so they're not like it's not like it's going to there's not going to be any more. But feel free to use it, especially if you bought it and you were attracted to it. That means the energy is right, the vibe is right for you. And when you have that type of energy in a cleansing item, then you definitely want to use that, because it's like no negative energy, no negative vibes can withstand that.
Yeah, and I love that these are sunflowers and then Palo Santo wrapped, right?
Yeah, you can click on it and go into it and
I was
show it
gonna
bigger.
say, I'm getting this. I need this.
Yeah, so these are sunflower and rose. I'm trying to see the pictures. I see sunflower, I see red roses, I see white roses. Those also have the selenite. Each one of them comes with the selenite stick and a Palo Santo stick. So you're kind of getting a crystal, you're getting the sage bundle, and you're getting Palo Santo. So it's like a super high quality, like it can't, if there's really something going on, go ahead and burn this one. You'll be good.
You'll be good for sure. I mean, look at it.
You will be good. Yes, and these are dried with silica gel, so they kind of look like they're fresh flowers. They don't look so. The colors are still vivid and the textures of the petals are still there. So you don't get that when you dehydrate them in like the shed, or hanging them, or even like dehydrating them in books. They flatten, or they're shaped differently. So that's another thing about this smudge bundle as well. The silica gel gives it just a little bit of extra quality. So when you get it, it kind of looks like they're fresh flowers, but when you touch it, it is an actual dried flower.
And I did not know that about drying sunflowers before. The first time I tried to dry a sunflower, I just tried to dry it like any flower and just hang it upside down. And then all the petals started to fall off and like shrink. And I was like, I was just left with like
especially with sunflowers, they're very delicate and those petals are going to fall off. So with the silica dried flowers, I try to use sunflowers because, once again, I think people love sunflowers. They're very beautiful, and you get honestly just a very beautiful smudge bundle.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, this one definitely caught my eye. Is that eucalyptus too? Or what is that?
Yeah, there might be some eucalyptus in there. I can't see it that close. Okay, yeah, I see it when I'm looking. Yeah, there's eucalyptus. So I see, eucalyptus, the sunflowers, rose. There's probably some other herbs in there. I can't remember this right off the top of my head.
It's a nice goodie mystery bag. It's beautiful.
Yeah, but they're definitely very beautiful and you're going to love them.
Oh, I'm so excited for this one. All right. Anywhere we should go next as far as
let's see. There's also, you can go anywhere you want. There's crystal items. There's no more incense. I see it says sage wands and incense. My incense sold out and I'm not going to get a chance to make any before the website update, but this new website update that's going to happen on Saturday, I'm actually going to have tea. So I'm going to have herbal teas and tea sets, and I'm even going to have blueberry sugar, and I'm going to have some items individually. And yes, I know,
what
crazy. It's like dried blueberries in sugar, but it's all powdered, so it's like sugar, and I'm going to use coconut sugar. So it's not going to be cane sugar. So it's going to be like coconut sugar with the dried blueberries. The tea set is going to come with whatever tea you want, coconut, blueberry coconut sugar, and a spoon a little teaspoon with a crystal on it. So you see, I really love the crystals, but there's also going to be things that are sold separately.
I need that. You need to tell me when. I love blueberry. I love anything blueberry. That sounds so
yes,
great.
I thought the blueberry was going to be a good, cute little touch.
And didn't you have like a book, like you had these cool dangly bookmarks or something?
Oh, they are there. Where are those?
I don't know, but I put it in my cart a little bit
ago. Yeah, they're
'cause
definitely.
I'm not sure where it would be. I'd probably have to go to ShopAll, right?
Try ShopAll.
Let's see. I don't mind.
They should be under the crystal items, honestly. So that lets me know. Actually, let me see. I'm on my back end.
Okay. Oh.
Did you find it?
I found a clear quartz bookmark. I don't know if that was the only one you had.
Clear quartz bookmark. Yeah, that's the only one.
Okay. I think these are so cool. I swear there was maybe there wasn't a different one. I don't know. Oh, guys, this oil, I'm telling you, it smells so freaking good. I love mine. I'm going to have to get more of this one. You wouldn't even believe it. Jasmine.
This is the Come Hither oil. Oh yeah, it's really, really great. It smells great. So you're seeing at the bottom there's crushed frankincense and myrrh. There's also 24 karat gold flakes, jasmine flowers, and the oil is a cold pressed sweet almond oil. So when I brew it, we'll call it brewing. When I'm brewing it, so I infuse the oil with other herbs. So there's lots of honeysuckle, there's jasmine. There are crystals that I put in there. I put the rose quartz and the clear quartz. There's just a lot of items. There's herbs that go into it, and then I sit it outside for at least a month. So oh yes, there you go. So you got yours. Yes.
Wow. So it sits out. You marinate for like that long?
So it gets both moon cycles, it gets the sun cycles, because this oil is for manifestation. So I wanted to have all of those. My idea was that it smells so good, nothing can resist it. There's gold in there.
Facts.
There's the beautiful smells. There's the frankincense and myrrh for purification and for attraction and abundance. And so you just speak your positive intentions and affirmations of yourself while you anoint yourself, rub it on your body. Some people use it for other spiritual practices. I know people who engage in candle work, they use it for candle work. They use it for their other rituals and things like that. So yeah, it smells absolutely wonderful. It's a great item.
So divine. The smell is so good. And I've been talking to you about this oil since I got it from you, and it's so amazing. It's interesting. I have like this, I lock memories in with like my sense of smell. Like I could smell something and be like, oh my gosh, that's from 7th grade when I went to this person's house. Like I have very, very specific like memories tied to different scents, if that makes sense. So my sense of smell is very sensitive, and like I could be outside and get a gust of wind, and like one scent in the air could bring back a whole story of memories. And when I went to Washington, I went to this like cool tarot, like witchy shop, and I got this attraction oil, and I still have it. And I use it here to kind of be in the energy of Washington. And so now that smells like Washington to me. And it's interesting. I got this from you, and I got it I was using it to kind of attract moving to Washington, and as soon as I smelled it, it has the same exact smell.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, this literally is my like the essence of my desires and what I'm attracting in this bottle. So I thought that was interesting when I got it. But guys, nothing smells better to me. This is
and it also has amber oil in it. And for anyone who doesn't know, amber oil is one of the only scents that actually adapts to your body chemistry. So amber oil smells different on you than it does on me.
Really?
So I include that in both the Come Hither oil and the chrysalis oil, which is the other one with the silver flakes. I include them both because it's going to smell different on you than it's going to smell on me, and it's going to work differently on you than it's going to work on me. So everyone literally, even though, you know, the oil is, we could call it the same oil, when you put it on, it is adapting to you. It is adapting to your desires, to your life experiences, and what you have going on.
I did not know that. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And is there also like is there like little bits of like crystal or something in the Come Hither one?
There could be little bits of crystal, but
Okay.
what you're probably, if there's bits that come out like little hard pieces, that's probably the frankincense and myrrh, because remember that's crushed up on the bottom of the vial. So when you're getting down to the last little bit, you know, if you want to fill it back up with some other oil or something, you can most certainly do that. Reuse, you know, reuse that bottle. But just know, you know, frankincense and myrrh are resins, so it's not going to completely dissolve in that oil. You know, it is going to kind of marinate and give off more of its essence, but it's not going to, it's going to be there.
Okay, it's so pretty. I just noticed that. I was like, ooh, it's there's so many amazing like herbs, and just it's just a beautiful concoction of magic.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. And then this Florida water, I just wanted to show you really quick. What's the difference between this Florida water that I'm seeing and the one that I got? Because this one seems to be a different color, so I didn't know the difference between.
Yes, so this one I was adjusting the colors. So if you ever go into like botanicas, the Florida water there is this traditional kind of blue color. It's actually a little bit lighter blue than that one right there. But I was trying and experimenting around to get the recipe closer. So here, the blue comes from blue butterfly pea flowers. So I used a lot of those in order to make it, but also there is kind of like a bluish green, and in real life it's a little bit more blue, but there's also some yellow elements to it because of the frankincense. It has like a yellow type of it has a yellow hue to it, and there's also alcohol in there. So when I'm first making it, it's actually pure alcohol that's steeping in all of the herbs and the resins and the crystals and things like that. So it's, you know, and then once I put the two things together, it kind of turns the bluish green color. But it's actually, we'll call it a new and improved recipe. And the next batch that I'm making, I've literally had the Florida water brewing since last year, because I made so much of the first one. I still haven't sold out of the first batch, this batch that you're seeing right here, but I preemptively made another one. So I'm like, okay, when this one sells out, I want to have more available and not have to wait, you know, 6 weeks for me to make some more. So, but it's actually been brewing for a long time. So it's going to be very, very strong.
I got you on that. I'm sure I won't have a problem clearing that supply out. I'm ready for more. And the bottles, like I love collecting like cute bottles and stuff and using them for like my practices and stuff. And I love
the cute bottles too. Yeah.
So I'll definitely be getting some of that for sure. Is there anything else specifically you wanted to show us?
I think those are, so there's also, you can go to the master classes section. Perfect. Yeah, so here you're going to see, these are all placeholders. So any of those that you click on, they're actually all priced at a penny to discourage people from buying. But what you'll see is there's text right there in red that lets you know to click the link if you want to actually go to that master class. So if you're looking to learn more of the techniques that I was talking about, this one is the EFT series. If you're looking to learn EFT, if you're looking to learn about lucid dreaming and dream work, if you're looking to learn about, I'm trying to think of what other classes there are. There's a discipline master class. There is,
We have a lot. So we have EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. He's done that with us on our
we did
channel.
that class here.
Yeah, we have a Limiting Beliefs Masterclass series, which totally goes along with our conversation today. Letting dead things go. So surrendering and releasing also really goes with our topic. It's the act of violence against the self. That's a really powerful topic.
Yes, that's about self-sabotage. So it's about, self-sabotaging thoughts, beliefs, and patterns of behavior. So how to get out of your own way.
Love that. Learning Myself workshop. What is that about?
So this one is about, many times we prioritize other people and particularly over ourselves, or like maybe a failed romantic relationship or one that we're in currently. And we're just not taking care of ourselves and our needs. And Learning Myself, it is a 5-day series on how to come back to yourself, how to strengthen the relationship that you have with yourself, how to identify undiscovered hobbies, interests, passions, so you can start to have your own life, so you can develop a self-care practice. The third day is on self-care. So we talk about self-care routines, how to create a self-care practice. We also talk about goals, short-term goals, long-term goals, how to create meaningful goals that are going to cause you to create a shift in your life. And then the last day is really how to put everything together to kind of transform your life. So you're doing a lot of self-exploration. All of my master classes come with the video content and companion workbooks. So those contain your daily reading materials, exercises, activities, how-tos. So in all of the series, but in that one, you're going to be guided through lots of self-exploration activities, journaling prompts, things to do, guided meditations, visualizations, TED Talks, all types of resources and things to dive in deeper. But that one's about learning what you like to do and learning about you and learning about your goals and not feeling like you have to people please and, getting away from that and coming back to you.
That's so important because, especially with our topic today, if we want to learn to create consciously in our life and really start to tap into what we're meant to do, clarity on what that looks like and who we are is so important. So I love that. Looks like we also have a dream work and lucid dreaming for personal development masterclass, which that's really what I steer people towards as far as, the lucid dreaming practice. So I love that you have a masterclass on this, opening your heart, which is huge for also manifesting as well. And I'm sure that has a level of surrendering to it as well, right?
Oh my goodness. That was one of the longest workshops that I've done. So that one probably has more than 10 hours worth of content, I would say.
Wow.
And you can click into it if you'd like, and it has the course curriculum. Let's see how much. Yeah. And you can scroll down. So this one is about exploring your relationships. So you explore your romantic relationships, your friendships, your relationship with yourself. You explore the relationship with your mother and your father or your caretaker growing up to learn what it is that you want out of relationships. Really, this all came about because people were constantly asking about romantic relationships and how to realize if they're in the wrong relationship or how to attract the perfect relationship for them or how to release negative energy or release that old flame, so I wanted to dive in deeper. So this is about relationships. It's about resolving issues in your relationships, opening your heart, forgiving your mother, forgiving your father, figuring out what it is that you want in a romantic relationship or in a friendship or in your relationship with yourself, and learning how to get there, doing a lot of forgiveness, a lot of release, a lot of self-discovery and exploration.
I love that. And I love, how much work you put into that. I was looking at the timestamps.
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of classes, so you can skip around in any of them. You can skip around, you can go all the way through it, but each little class is about 45 minutes to an hour. So you'll see on the curriculum pages, this Coming Back Home workshop series, this is about developing inner peace and tranquility. So it isn't in the description, you'll see it, but it talks about EFT. You learn mindfulness meditation, but you learn to come back home to yourself. So this place of inner peace and inner tranquility in 5 different ways. And each one is divided down into its own workshop with its own content, its own activities. And once again, it has the workbook in there for you. So you're going to learn to develop these practices, metaphysical practices that lead you to inner peace and tranquility. And that way, when you go out into the world, you are bringing your home with you, yourself, your inner peace. You're learning to come back home to that. So when you go out in the world and you interact with others and you interact with, the world at large, you still are carrying that safety and that serenity with you.
I love that. The best way to come back home is to create that within yourself and be comfortable with, who you are, but not just like, oh, just be comfortable with who you are, but really know the ins and outs of, your being and who you are, and allow that to reflect. I think that's so beautiful. And we're really all we're doing within this life is coming back home and walking each other home as well. It's, so I love that all of your work really reflects that. And you're never going to, you're never gonna get a course or something from Erin and think like, oh, there's not enough material in here, or
there's
it's
a lot of material.
Really fills in all of the gaps, the questions that you may have with these practices. And it's just, I highly recommend checking out his website and his work, his shop. Highly recommend. And again, what is that code for the audience, just in case anyone's wanting to? It's LM20, right?
Yep, LM20. So Lucid Mystic 20, and that's going to get you 20% off your order of physical products. So it's only the physical products, so not the masterclass section that we were just in, but any of the crystal jewelry, any of the floral wrapped sage or the Florida waters or the crystal items, incense holders, anything, your entire order, you can get 20% off now through Friday at $11.59. And remember, also any order over $50, you can also split into 4 interest-free payments, 4 equal interest-free payments, and your first payment is not even due until after your order ships. So I think it's 2 weeks. I think each payment is due every other week, and your first payment still isn't due until that second week, so you can get items that you want now with the 20% off, split your order down into 4 payments. I'll ship all of the orders this week, or, if you order on Friday, then it'll probably ship next Monday or Tuesday. So you're definitely going to have all of your items before you even see any money come out of your bank account. Can't get any better than
Exactly. So before we end, is there anything else that you have going on that maybe you want to promote, or anything coming up?
Let me think. So I didn't put it on here, but you can follow me on Facebook. On Facebook, I am going to be doing a 4-part weekend class. So it's going to be on Saturdays for 4 Saturdays in a row, probably just for 45 minutes to an hour. And it's going to be on mindfulness meditation. So I'm putting that together. This week also, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm also going to be doing evening meditations, and probably morning and evening meditations. You'll see me just announce it over the next, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to be doing that very often. So if you're looking to dive into that, that's another free way to learn those practices and actually get to experience them. So, and then also the website update. So you have the 20% off code using the code LM for Lucid Mystic, LM20, now through Friday. On Saturday at noon, I'm going to be updating my website. So you're going to see a little revamp and some things going on. So just keep an eye out for that as well.
Check him out, guys. Definitely definitely check out his website, his shop. And he definitely does a lot of like jewelry updates and stuff like that. Yeah. He always has new stuff he's creating. So I highly recommend checking that out. Me and Erin have a lot planned as far as projects that we're going to be doing together. So I'm excited.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited to get those going. If you guys have any questions about what Aaron does, what he offers, just please feel free to reach out to him. Is Instagram the best for you as far as?
Yeah, Instagram, you're going to be able to reach me very quickly. HIYERAlignment on Instagram, just like here on YouTube, HIYERAlignment. Send me a DM. I'm very responsive. I'll respond back to you probably that same day or the next day if you have questions about tools or techniques or working with me or anything. And then on my YouTube, I have tons of how-tos, and my YouTube is really a collection of resources. So how-tos, guided practices, meditations, visualizations, EFT routines, dream work and lucid dreaming, how-tos and tips and all types of stuff like that. So those are the best resources. But if you want to contact me, definitely just reach out to me on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely check out his YouTube and definitely check out the meditation series as well. That's been very helpful. And I've definitely recommended a lot of people to that for those who really want to experience the essence of meditation without just using other distractions to kind of anchor our awareness and meditate. You know, you really open up a new kind of space for meditation. So definitely check that out. And thank you so much for chilling with me for this long, Aaron.
Oh, you're fine.
It's been so fun chatting with you. I appreciate the conversation. We'll definitely have to do it again soon. And I appreciate you showing us all of the amazing things that you're creating. I'm excited to stay up to date on that. And thank you guys so much for joining, hanging out with me. I see all of you chilling in here. We go live every Monday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And if there are any changes to the live stream schedule, or you would like, updates on the content coming out, make sure to join our Telegram group chat. All links are in the description. You can also find all links on my link tree. Thank you for my mods for chilling out, hanging out in the chat with us. I appreciate you guys so much. We will definitely have Aaron back. And again, stay tuned pretty soon because we will be releasing some new projects that we have been working on. And I just can't wait for that. It's going to be so good. So thank you.
Yes, no problem. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I hope you guys have an amazing, magical day. And I hope that you all got something from this live stream because it's been very insightful. So thanks again, Aaron, for joining. And I will talk to you all later. See you guys.
Thank you. See ya.